Good afternoon, everyone. This meeting will be held in accordance with Executive Order N-2920, issued by California Governor Gavin Newsom on March 17, 2020. Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code Section 54950 ET sequence, and the Federal American with Disability Acts. This meeting will be open to the public. Seating capacity will be limited to the first 30 people on the first come, first served basis. Compliance with all health and safety guidelines, including COVID-19 screenings, temperature checks, face coverings, and physical distancing measures will be required for in-person attendance. Zoom meeting information is on the posted agenda. Remote public comment is also available for the City Council meetings by emailing the City Clerk at cityclerk@ciseries.ca.us by 5 p.m. the day of the meeting. Include the agenda item number on the public comment period in the subject line of the email. The clerk may read written comments into the record. If specifically requested to do so at the beginning of your email, your written comment will be distributed to the City Council and kept on file as part of the official records of the council meeting. Welcome everybody to the City Council regular meeting. Today, April 26, 2021, 6 p.m. Call this meeting to order. May I take the roll call, please?
Councilmember Rhino. Here. Councilmember Silvera.
Here.
Vice Mayor Condit.
Here.
And Mayor Lopez.
Here. Today we have an invocation by Pastor Patrick Davis, Sirius Christian Church, which I believe he's on Zoom.
Pastor Davis, I'll ask to unmute your mic.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me this evening. Please note that you are always in our prayers and have our support continuously. Proverbs 15:22 says, without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. If you would please, I invite you to pray with me. If you could bow your heads. Our God, we thank you for the ability and the opportunity to be of service in this day and time. God, would you lead this council, give them guidance, God, and I'm sure many of them are fatigued, and so I'm praying for strength and energy, and also, God, for a measure of peace, an increased measure of peace. God, would you bless the proceedings today in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. We have a couple presentations today, so please be patient. We're going to start off with the certificate of recognition for Nicole Sis Bates. She is not present today, but I heard that her father will be accepting her certificate. Certificate of recognition presented to Nicole Bates in honor of athletic achievements. The City Council of the City of Sirius recognizes and congratulates you on your acceptance to the University of Washington. The city is proud to be represented by such an outstanding athlete and remarkable young leader who serves as a role model and inspires others to reach their potential. Go ahead and hand this to you, sir.
Well, on behalf of Nicole and her family, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, and the City of Sirius. She's had quite a ride, and we didn't expect any of this, but it's been fun along the way, and she's proud to represent the city, and we appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our second certificate of recognition goes to Jaden Pierce. I hope I pronounced that correctly. In honor of athletic achievement, the City Council of the City of Sirius recognizes and congratulates you on your acceptance to the Sacramento Republic FC Academy. The city of Sirius is proud to be represented by such an outstanding athlete and remarkable young leader who serves as a role model and inspires the students to reach their potential. Jada?
I just want to say thank you for this recognition, and I'll try to make everybody proud, and I'll give this my hardest.
Thank you, Jada. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. We do have two proclamations today. We're going to begin with the public service recognition. Public Service Recognition Week is celebrated the first full week in May nationwide. And it is time to set aside to honor those who serve our nation as federal, state, county, and local government employees. Nearly 183 hardworking, talented people are employed by the City of Sirius, with over 1,770 combined years of government service. And the City of Sirius employees work to protect and improve the quality of life for our residents, businesses, and visitors. And over the past year alone, city staff has provided service to nearly 13,172 water customer accounts, processed 157,373 posted recipients and payments, processed more than 2,855 procurement cards, transactions to support the city operations. We resurfaced 8.5 linear miles of pavement and recorded 2 subdivision maps, issued 719 building permits, offered COVID-compliant classes for youth dances, soccer, sports camp, driver's ed, painting, pottery painting, cartooning, and robotic, maintained 14 parks, which consist of more than 157.68 acres and the total of 43.5 undeveloped acres. The Sirius Police Department responded to 41,224 calls for service. Sirius Dispatch processed 69,334 calls that included 911 calls and non-emergency calls. Sirius Fire Department responded to 5,759 calls for service. City staff has provided exemplary service to our residents with the professionalism we know and appreciate day in and day out. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Javier Lopez, Mayor of the City of Sirius, do hereby proclaim this week, May 2nd through the 8th, 2021, as Public Service Recognition Week in the City of Sirius. Along with the City Council, express gratitude to the City of Sirius dedicated employees for their ongoing commitment to serve our community. Thank you. And our final proclamation, declaring April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day in the City of Sirius. In 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Horticulture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And trees can reduce the erosions of our precarious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate on temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And trees in our city increase property value, enhance the economic viability of business areas, and beautify our community. And trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, the City Council of the City of Sirius does hereby proclaim April 30th, 2021 as Arbor Day. This is for you. Okay, now we're moving on to citizens' communications. While the city council welcomes and encourages participate in city council meetings, adopt a rule allows no more than 5 minutes, resolution number 2007-106, for expression of the non-agenda items. Matters under the jurisdiction of the city council and not on the posted agenda may be addressed in the general public. However, California law prohibits the city council from taking any action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda, unless it is determined to be an emergency by the city council. Citizens are entitled to address the city council on any agenda item subject to the 5-minute provision. We'll first open the public comments for those present in the chambers. I do have a yellow, oh, do we go with the yellow slips first, or? Yeah, I have 2 yellow slips, sir. So the first person to speak is going to be John Osgood. Oh, it's okay? Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Osgood.
Dave Pratt Series. I just want to thank Public Works for getting the dog park open back up. Our dog appreciates that. She's been taking me a walk over that way, wanting to get in, and finally was able to get back into the park. Thank you.
Thank you. John Osgood.
Good evening, everybody. I come before you about a month and a half ago and let you all know that there were violations of our municipal code happening. I approached Mr. Westbrook about formation of a municipal code committee to review the areas we must correct if we want to, as a city, engage in certain behaviors that are violating the municipal code and in turn violating the citizens series. It's kind of fallen on deaf ears. I've talked to you, Mayor Lopez, and my council member, Chance Condit. You both are very intimate where I'm at. At this point, I am no longer asking for the violations of citizens of series to be addressed through change to the municipal code. Tonight, I stand before you to request bond information of our city manager. I intend to put a lien on people's bond. I intend to engage in litigation if necessary. Our city manager, our city attorney, and even chief have responsibilities under the municipal code that are not being taken seriously. I know I haven't addressed the chief before, but in chapter 19, .10, .010 through .03, it lays out what our officials must do. Any person violating the municipal code, it says any person can be fined and or imprisoned. When we are in a mutual aid agreement that violates city municipal code, that's a violation of code, a violation of the people of series. We either need resignations, we need this behavior to stop, or we need a committee to change so that we can behave appropriately via the municipal code. We have to change that code if these things are going to be allowed and going to continue. If not, well, then we can litigate. We can lien people's bonds. Bonded employees that can't get insurance bonds can't work in the state. I want the bond information this evening. I want corrupted employees to resign. We know we have certain employees that have been challenged for having conflicts of interest, whether they're interim employees or not. Once that notification came to the city, it was the city manager's responsibility to act on that. All of us here I'm looking at know who I'm referring to. That person should resign immediately. I would really like for us to function civilly with each other. I don't like to be the irate truck driver that Jeff Benzinger wants to slam because I'm asking for things to be done appropriately. I don't want to be the guy that has to bring things to the attention of the city that the inept city attorney should be bringing to the attention of the city. I don't get paid what he gets paid. I don't make that money. And this is not de minimis, Mr. Hallinan. Mr. Westbrook, we need to address the municipal code. and not the part that says we can't have our trash can in front of the garage. Not the part that says we can't have parties between this time and that time. Not the part that says any behavioral modification for the people. There is a section of this municipal code that guides the city management, the city council, and the city as a government on how to behave, and we are not doing that. We haven't been doing that for quite some time, and it needs to stop. Any person, chief, it says any person, and it says it's your responsibility to enforce it. The number one responsibility of our police department is not state crime, it's not federal crimes, it's city municipal code. When the city establishes a police department, establish the police department for the enforcement of our code first. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Osgood. Next, we have Melissa Newsom.
And council members, sorry, for letting me come up again and speak. I'm speaking again in regards to Hackett and Blaker, which is known as no cop, no stop. Nothing has changed. It's worse, if not anything. I'm still waiting for the papers to get, so I can go to the neighborhood and have people sign them so we can get something done in this corner. In all reality, I feel like I'm being pushed aside because I'm not important enough, or there isn't enough people speaking, but I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to keep coming here and doing what I got to do. I've sent emails to Mr. Westbrook, to you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get something done. So I'm back. I don't know. It's work. We still have cars coming through at night, doing their Brody and outs. The first 2 weeks after the last council meeting, we had more patrols there. They sit there for about 10 minutes and bam, they got people pulled over for running stop signs, but then they disappear. They'll be there for the first 2 weeks. Gradually, they just go away. I mean, we know they can't be there all the time. They have a job to do, obviously. But the people around there know that they can do what they want because there's not enough patrol doing anything about nothing. And when I'm sitting outside with, say, my 6-month-old grandson, and we're sitting there and then people are coming and doing Brodies in front of us, that's ridiculous. Something, speed bumps, roundabouts, anything. And I'm going to be honest, I dislike roundabouts because I just don't think. But I'm willing to even have one of those there just to slow people down. The traffic on Hackett Road is unbelievable, the speed. And with the school being one way and then the park being the other way, like right in the middle, I wouldn't think it'd be this hard to get some kind of system or some put in. So if someone can help me again, do something, get the papers I need, I'm still waiting for, so I can accept again, whatever it is. I feel like no one is really caring.
Mr. Westbrook, is there any way you can follow up on that after the meeting?
Yes, we will follow up with Mrs. Newsom on the steps that we've taken to this point and the next steps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Mr. Yakeley?
It's going to be old news for everyone in the city council that's been here for a while. About a week ago, I emailed several members of the city council and pleaded my case many more times before too. And I just want to let you know, members that are new or the ones that don't understand what I wrote, please get a hold of me. I can clarify what you don't understand. The figures that I submitted, if you're not satisfied with those, or you think they're just bogus, you can get a hold of Chief Collins. He'll verify those. And for all those people that are watching on Zoom tonight or listening, again, I want to tell everyone in the city, you got to get involved. It's getting kind of old, man. There's a lot of people here that need your help. Without your help, we get nowhere. And quoting Leonard Shepard, he made a statement about 3 years ago about our logo is together we achieve. Well, there's only a few people that are trying to achieve stuff in the city, and we can't achieve our goals if other people don't participate. And that's the people that are watching and listening tonight. Please get up. If you can't get here or you can't participate in some form, whether it's internet or letters to the council members or the chief of police or the city manager, get someone to help you. Without help, we won't get anywhere. And after 32 years of living here, I tell you, we haven't achieved too much. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing us to speak this evening. There seems to be a great concern amongst citizens of our community in regards to the enforcement of our codes and rules and regulations. The bottom line basically is there is a great lack of enforcement. Look at the street vendors. I spoke of this last time. None of those folks have obtained a proper license to do business within the city. $250. I'm sure that's probably not the root evil. It's probably the insurance policy they have to post, which is going to cost them a lot more than $250. And so our brick and mortar folks go along and do what they're supposed to do. The other people out here wandering around on our streets don't do what they're supposed to do. No one takes any enforcement action against them. We don't want to pick on them, but we want them to comply with our rules and regulations. And that's what people are talking about. It's the same thing with junker cars and driveways. No one pays attention to them. Just today, I received a response from code enforcement in regards to a problem on Moffett right near Hatch. About 3 doors down, some people have a big, huge tarp tent over their cars. They're living in those cars. They're sleeping in those cars. And the response I received was, we've had some previous complaints that we've investigated there. So obviously they're aware of it. But the folks tell us they just hang out in front during the day so they can watch their dog tied up to the tree. The cars have flat tires, they have cobwebs. Who in their right mind puts a tent over their car so they can sit in front of their house in their driveway chewing the fat? It doesn't make sense. Why not have it investigated? I mean, these things aren't being taken care of. And that's what the members of our community are upset with. So I request that the council take some steps, increase enforcement. When an officer responds to a call and the person isn't properly licensed, at least get out of their patrol car and talk to that person, gather their information, and see whoever's responsible for sending them a notice to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Anybody on Zoom?
At the moment, I do not see any hands raised, Mayor.
Emails?
I did receive an email. Megan Mizuno from the Ceres Library, and I'll go ahead and read it. My name is Megan Mizuno, the librarian at the Ceres Library. I'd like to provide an update on the modified services the Series Library is offering. We are currently open for browsing and checkout materials as well as computer access. Capacity is limited in keeping with the state of California's current guidance for opening. Masks and social distancing are required. In order to maintain capacity limits, we are not equipped for group or extended visits at this time. Our modified hours of operation are Monday through Thursday, 12 to 6 p.m., Friday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., closed Saturday and Sunday. We are still providing additional content on the Stanislaus County Library Facebook account. Regular virtual story time and virtual bilingual story time will resume in May and will be streamed live on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 9:30 a.m. We are also still doing virtual trivia nights every other Friday. Please visit the events and classes section of the stanislauslibrary.org for a full list of events. This week, April 26th through May 1st, is our annual celebration we call Dia de los Niños, Dia de los Libros, or Children's Book Day. Emphasizes the importance of literacy for children in all linguistic and cultural backgrounds. Throughout the week, we'll be posting virtual bilingual story times and a special virtual visit with the author Robert Lou Trujillo on Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. On Wednesday, April 28th, from 2 to 3, we will be doing a book giveaway at the Series Library. Every child will receive one book on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. Lastly, our annual summer reading challenge will begin on May 18th through August 3rd. Readers of all ages are welcome to participate and track their reading for a chance to win prizes. We have a program for ages 0 to 18 and a program for 18 plus. Visit our website at stanislauscounty.org to register for the summer reading program hosted on Beanstack, and feel free to contact us at the library for more information. If you have any questions about our services or how to access them, please visit our website or call 537-8938 during hours of operation. Thank you.
Thank you. Nobody on Zoom at all? Okay. Okay, thank you, everybody. The public comment period is now closed. Moving on to conflict of interest. Is there anybody on the council that would like to declare a conflict of interest? No. Moving on to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and will be enacted by one single motion unless otherwise requested by an individual council member or public for special consideration. Otherwise, the recommendation of staff will be accepted and acted upon by a roll call vote. Is there anyone on the council that would like a consent item pulled for further discussion?
Item 6.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to consent item pulled for further discussion? No? Okay, so somebody would like to motion for the entire.
Move to approve consent calendar 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
If we get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Rhino,
Yes.
Councilmember Silvera,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Aye.
and Mayor Lopez.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Item number 6, final adoption of the ordinance 2021-1062, approving a Second Amendment development agreement by and between the City of Ceres and Case Journey Incorporated for existing cannabis dispensary operations located at 4030 Farm Supply Drive.
I only
Or-
pulled it because I would not be able to vote for it under consent, since I previously voted against it.
Thank you, Councilmember.
I'll move to approve item 6. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rhino,
No.
Councilmember Silvera,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Aye.
and Mayor Lopez.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1.
Finished business, none. Moving on to public hearing. Public hearing for the city council to consider a proposal for rezoning of the property located at northeast corner of East Hatch Road and Golf Links Drive to modify the existing MX2 mixed use 2 zoning designation to a CC community commercial zoning designation within the Mitchell Road corridor, specific plan and to consider an appeal of the Planning Commission decision of approving a vesting tentative parcel map and a specific plan site plan entitlement involving the subdivision of 2.16 acres commercial zone site into the parcel with new commercial building proposed for each parcel. Westbrook.
Thank you, Mayor Lopez, council members. The item before you was continued from your January 25th City Council meeting. The request this evening that has concurrence from both the appellant and the applicant in this matter are requesting to continue it to another date certain, which would be November 8th of 2021. Both felt that they would be good for the council to be a full council, and so we need to kick this out past the special election, which is scheduled for the 31st of August. And so the request of the applicant and the appellant this evening is to continue to that date specific time. What you would need to do, Mayor Lopez, is since this was a continued public hearing, we want to open the public hearing, take any testimony, close the public hearing, and then continue it to that November date. And I'm available for any questions if the council has any.
Doesn't look like it. We'll now open the public hearing. Is there anybody who has questions or comments in the public? Anybody on Zoom? Actually, Mr. Yegley.
Yeah, Gene Akeley stays. Yeah, that helps. On that particular parcel, so we can call it parcel, is that the street that's on the entrance to the golf course? On
Yes,
Hatch Road? So that side's called Golf Links, if I'm correct, right?
that's correct, Mr. Eakley.
And the plan was before that, I guess you had, the planning department had something submitted in the past for some kind of convenience right into the driveway there to the left. Is that correct?
The parcel in question is on the east side of the Off Links Road, just in front of the driving range.
There'll be a parking lot and some kind of convenience store or
It was approved by the Planning Commission with commercial development with a parking lot, yes.
so that's not final though, right?
It needs the appeal hearing, if the council concurs, will be on the November 8th City Council agenda.
Well, as a citizen, the series, I don't believe that's appropriate to have it there. I mean, we got enough congestion and problems in series already we need to take care of. We need to find that gentleman or owner to find another location and leave that open for, I would assume that the city would like that to be established as some kind of recreation part of what's there already, like golf or soccer or whatever the issue is, and to not go to the extreme to let another business go in there. And evidently there was some suggestions in the past that the people that want to put something there, they own something in some other areas that haven't turned out very well. And myself and maybe some people behind me feel the same way, that that property should be used for something else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, council members. John Warren. I have some questions and a comment. Mr. Westbrook, 3 parcels and 3 separate buildings. Within each of those buildings, are they going to be, or is it going to be several offices or buildings within buildings? Or is it just going to be one unit or one business in each building?
We're getting a little bit into the weeds, but simply the buildings are shell buildings. It may be occupied by one business, or it could be occupied by a number of businesses. It just depends who ultimately lease those tenant spaces.
So with 3 buildings, there could be the possibility of maybe 12 businesses amongst them total.
Depending upon the size of those businesses, yes, there could be multiple businesses within that development.
So how many parking spots are going to be available for an unknown number of businesses and an unknown number of people coming and going from the area?
So I don't have the site plan in front of me, but the parking ratio meets city standards for the size of the buildings. So it wouldn't matter if there was one tenant and 3 buildings or 12 tenant and 3 buildings, the parking spaces will be adequate for city code.
Thank you. My feeling is that property will probably be needed at some time in the future to widen Hatch Road. Hatch Road is 2 lanes there right now. And in that particular area, I think going on out to Faith Home, room is going to be needed to widen the highway. And we can't do it on the south side of the road because TID's canals and all of that are along there. So the only available area for widening our thoroughfare would be on the north side of the highway. And as it abuts up to one of our very nice city parks, I do believe that area would be better used as an open green area that's not congested, as Mr. Yeagley mentioned. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody on Zoom? Emails? Okay. Now close this public hearing. Someone would like to motion so we can move this forward to November 8th.
Move to continue to November 8th.
Second.
Get a roll call, please.
Rhino,
Yes.
Councilmember Silvera,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Condit,
Aye.
and Mayor Lopez.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Moving on to new business. Creation of an ad hoc committee honoring veterans within the city of Ceres. This committee will serve the purpose of coming up with guidelines, resources, and presentations for the Veterans and Active Members Banners Program. Upon reaching the guidelines, we will convene back at the City Council for approval. We'll then hand the findings over to Matt Lohr, who will take in and manage applications. The City of Ceres is proud to recognize all current members and veterans of armed forces from our community. Several persons that I would like to be a part of this would be myself, Sergeant King of the U.S. Army Recruiters, who is active in our community. Freddie Morales, but unfortunately he couldn't make it today. Ceres Veterans of Foreign Wars. I hope I don't mess up the last name. Pete Samaniago of Ceres American Legion, Commander. Mr. Yeagley, veteran. Chance Condit, County Supervisor, and Councilmember Silvera. If anybody would like to stand up and speak and just to add something. Sergeant, anyone? Step up.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I am the American Legion Commander, Pete Samaniego. You've probably seen me at some of the events that we have put on for the community. This is something that was brought up a few years back by Renee Lindbetter, when she was the Chamber of Commerce president, I would say. She wanted to adopt a program that we would honor our current military on active duty and past, those who have left us, and remember their honor for serving their honors in the military. And at that time, what she proposed was that we do something for them, like along the Hatch Quarter, putting up banners, these military heroes. Have you seen at Turlock, if you go on Turlock Countryside Drive, they adopted a program for their military heroes. And I see here in Ceres, we have a few military past and present heroes. Some are present, we still have with us, like the commander of the VFW, Freddie Morales. He's a Vietnam Purple Heart recipient. I think there's more that needs to be put and done for these incentives out there for these, not so much an incentive, but a recognition for these veterans who have given their life to make what we have today our freedom and honor. our country. There. So, Mark.
Thank you. I agree.
While I'm appreciative of the service and sacrifice of our military members, our veterans, our current active duty service members, former council members, people in sport, kids that do good in school, the job of government is not to have a committee for every issue that we think is important. It's not our job to honor each other on a continual basis. The duty of government is not to form a committee to rename a park, to dedicate a sign in a man's honor, or to have a committee to honor veterans, or a committee or a special day for public safety, or this, that, or the other thing. The committee I'm asking for is to define how we govern ourselves, and that's being ignored for every other reason under the sun. It's wrong. I wasn't kidding about bond information. We need to start making committees or inroads to repairing how our government works. This gross negligence is ridiculous. Form any committee you want. We need to address this municipal code issue. It needs to be a committee of citizens that goes through this and instructs our government how to function. That was the intent. And my aggravation on that issue is not because of how we're forcing ourselves to behave, but how our government is behaving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osgood. Sergeant King.
Members of the council, I'm Staff Sergeant King. Just to kind of mention a few things, I don't know if you guys know this, but you guys actually have in your community 5 people that are currently seniors at Sirius High School that are in the Army, right? So I think it is important that we highlight them. Not only are they doing what 1% of America is willing to do, they're high school students that haven't even had the time to experience life yet and already made this commitment. So I think it is very important that we do highlight that. That being said, I am the new station commander for the Turlock Army Recruiting Station. My goal and my main focus is community involvement, okay? It's not about being your community. For me, it's about being a strong community together, building a stronger bond between the United States Army and military in general and your communities, right? Making sure that everyone has a goal, making sure that everyone has a passion, making sure that we can help them get there, right? In doing so, we just become a stronger and better community. And if I can help do that, that's what I'm here to do. So if you guys ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, I am the station commander in Turlock, and I'll be more than happy to help you guys in any way possible. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Mr. Yakeley, would you care to add something or need a pass? Supervisor? Okay. Council member?
I have a comment. This came up when we were in the middle of naming the skate park, the Ochoa Park, and it was clear by the input of the citizens of Ceres that this was something that the city would like to see. In my opinion, again, it's a pretty general term, but it's a no-brainer to reach out and recognize those people who protect our freedom in the past and are now. Some other towns, like have been mentioned, are doing it, so we have something to fall back on for process. I don't think we're going to have to reinvent the wheel, so I'm happy to sit on this committee to look at different ways that we can recognize our past and present service members. Thanks.
Thank you, council member. It's not required to do a motion, to have a motion for this, Elena. We can just make the committee and vote. Do we need a vote for the committee, or are we?
Excuse me, I think we should come back with the names and
And then we'll
approve
okay,
that.
that sounds good. I just wanted to double check.
That'll be our direction tonight, bring the names
Anybody
back.
else would like to add anything?
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
normally when we do an ad hoc committee, we open it for community members. You don't want to do that. Already have one made up. Is that correct?
I reached out to the community. I mean, I reached out to Yakeley, but if there's, I think it's only fair if anybody else would like to participate. To council member's point. Okay, so does it sound like anybody else wants to participate? How about yourself, council member?
If I was on it, then you would have.
Oh,
have
yeah,
Brown.
you are correct. No, we can't do that. You're right. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Mr. Yakeley, did you want to speak? Yeah, because I did ask earlier. I wasn't sure if you heard me or not, but go ahead, come up.
This is everybody on the city council and some people that don't agree with some of the things that go on in the city. I was opposed to the name of the park myself. Some people in the city know that already. But let me tell you something. This gentleman here, I don't have.
Continue.
Anyway, I agree with a lot of the things he said tonight on several occasions. But there seems to be people in the city that believe that veterans are just people that have no recognition at all. That's like not recognizing the police department, and when someone next door to you retires after 30 years of being on the police force, you know, they're nothing but a neighbor at that point. Let me tell you, if you've ever been in a war zone, it's a pretty nasty place. And you see things that you never want to experience as an 18-year-old kid. You never forget those things. Like someone said tonight, the sergeant back there, I'm not sure on this quote, but maybe 1% of Americans participate in one branch of the service or another. But to not have a committee for this and try to show recognition to all those people that we live around that we don't know about. They have mental disabilities, they have physical disabilities that follow them for the rest of their lives. And these people need to be recognized by the citizens that live here. And if I had my way, there'd be flags all over the damn place. And there'd be signs saying, we honor our veterans coming into the city, going out of the city. And people would have respect for one another. And our neighbors would like the neighbors next door, and everything would be perfect. But I know it can't be that way. But you know what? I believe that some of those people that gave their lives for different causes in the outside the United States in war zones, I think those people had a hope too, that when they came home, things would be better. But they haven't got better, as we can see in history today. It's gotten worse. But we need something to hold us together. If it's just the community here, and we can do something to make it just our own little shelter of a cause by honoring our veterans, I think we should do that, whatever it costs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yakeley. I'll be reaching out to all the participants for dates and the time to meet to begin the process. Moving on to discussions. Item number 9, a municipal code update and changes with the Berlotti agreement.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Tonight I wanted to take a few minutes to discuss the franchise agreement with Berlotti, updates that are necessary to meet Cal Recycle requirements for the municipal code. This slide just shows the several assembly bills that have been enacted in the last few years. Assembly Bill 939 requires jurisdictions to divert 50% of the garbage. Assembly Bill 341 is mandatory commercial recycling. The state goal is 75%. Assembly Bill 1826 is mandatory commercial organics, which is another goal of 50%. AB 1594 is the landfill alternative daily recovery. And Senate Bill 1383 is to reduce organics by 50% by 2020 and 75% by 2025. Assembly Bill 939 is the California Integrated Waste Management Act. It makes all California cities, counties, and regional solid waste management agencies responsible for enacting plans and implementing programs to divert 50% of the waste per year. So the chart shows that over the last 4 years, we've been well below that. Assembly Bill 341, mandatory commercial recycling. So it requires businesses, including public agencies, that generate 4 cubic yards or more of solid waste per week to arrange for recycling services. So the businesses can take, there's multiple avenues the businesses can take. They can self-haul, subscribe to a hauler, arrange for pickup of recyclable materials, or subscribe to a service. With that comes a significant amount of paperwork for the business owner, or let the city manage it. Assembly Bill 1826 is mandatory organics recycling. So it phases in the mandatory recycling of commercial organics over a period of time. So beginning in 2019, it required that businesses generate 4 cubic yards or more to arrange for organic services, very similar to the previous one. Senate Bill 1383, that's the short-lived climate pollutant reduction strategy. So it requires all Californians to reduce organic waste disposal by 75% by 2025, which is equivalent to more than 20 million tons annually. Has significant policy and legal implications for the state and local agencies. The regulations take effect January 1st of 2022. Senate Bill 1383. So this is in continuance. It provides organic waste collection to all mandated residents and businesses, establishes an edible food recovery program, conducts outreach and education to all parties. And we will be required by CalRecycle to procure recycled organic waste products. So what that means is that whatever percentage of tonnage that we give, CalRecycle is going to have a website produced that all agencies are going to have to procure a percentage of that back, whether it's in compost, natural gases, paper products, whatever the case may be. Assembly Bill 827. So it's adding language to Assembly Bills 341 and 1826 that were passed in 2019. So effective July 1st of 2020, the mandatory commercial recycling and organics covered businesses must provide organics and recycling containers for customers to collect waste generated. So this is for the businesses and restaurants that if you were to go into a restaurant, sit down, ask to have recycling and organics containers to where the food servers can get access to them, labeled. If it's a fast food restaurant, there has to be recycling and organics containers on the way out the door so the patrons can dump their products there. So what we've done so far is we've completed the public hearing for the Prop 218 process. That's in place. We have the new rate structure adopted. And what is in progress is the 3-cart collection program, the implementation. We've done a significant amount of work on the accounting for billing and auditing the account holders who has the types of cans. We're working on that now. Education and outreach. We're working on developing a plan. We've reached out to a few agencies. There's a lot of information that CalRecycle has produced to help us identify the education and outreach necessary. And it's just an information gathering and policy. Next steps. We need to formalize the municipal code. It needs to be updated for abbreviations, terms, terminology, as well as language. We need to update the franchise agreement with Bertolotti. We need to have an aggressive education and outreach campaign, update the website, social media, direct mail, online TV, radio advertisement, community presentations, events. And then compliance and enforcement. All the assembly bills come with language where they're requiring the agencies for enforcement and fines. Program maintenance, customer engagement, and monitoring and reporting requirements. So we're required to report not only to CalRecycle, but to the website, to the residents, annual reporting and whatnot. So this is the 3-cart collection service. So the customers will utilize 3 different collection carts for the separation of waste materials. So there's either going to be a black or a gray cart. The reason it's black or gray is that there's a lot of black and or gray carts out there now. We don't want to replace everything that we don't have to yet. The blue cart recycles are going to be for cardboard and paper, newspaper, aluminum cans, glass bottles, plastic bottles, and jugs. And then the organics, the green organics can that will be delivered is for the lawn trimmings, grass clippings, shrubs, weeds, leaves, garden tree prunings, food waste, and food soiled paper. So all current residential customer utility rates, including the green can pickup service on a weekly basis. Depending on the quantity of organics generated at locations, this is for more of the commercial accounts. We will increase the frequencies as needed. For businesses who generate larger quantities of food waste, larger collection containers are available for service, i.e. the 2-yard, 3-yard, 5-yard bins, whatever the case may be. These are the rates that went into effect January 1st. So the cart contamination enforcement, Assembly Bill 1826 requires the city to conduct regular and biannual audits of garbage cans. Yeah, the definition from CalRecycle is you pick up garbage cans at random, you take them to a location, you spread them out on a concrete slab, and you do an audit to determine what's in that can and where should it be placed. And then that audit also gets reported to CalRecycle. And then contamination occurs when materials are disposed of in the incorrect collection container. So for example, is if you were to put recyclables in a plastic bag before placing them into the blue collection cart, the plastic bag would be considered a contaminant. So the illegal dumping, illegal enforcement and penalty provisions. So penalty provision has been included to supplement the costs associated with remediation activities. As you can see, our illegal dumping over the last 4 years has had a significant increase. So the seasonal leaf and limb program, the rates that were adopted and approved by the last council included the leaf and limb program to be seasonal, October 1st through January 9th. At the request of a council member and few residents that we've had, we're going to begin looking at trying to continue that service year round. We need to get through the first quarter or so, first half year of next year with the organics program to see where we are, and then we'll make a determination at that point. So proposed revisions to the franchise agreement. Revisions to the franchise agreement will reflect the changes to the provisions of services outlined. So we'll add additional services to be executed, including special events and illegal disposal pickup, which are currently being performed, not explicitly stated in the contract, the existing contract. And additional language includes the regular provisions of materials disposal from Bertolotti. We have to do a better job of reporting to CalRecycle. So these are changes and revisions to the existing language. So service and rate changes associated with the introduction of a residential 3-cart solid waste collection system. So right now the Muni code states that there are 2. We need to add that 3rd can in there with the provisions for organics and recycling services and an enforcement and penalty program for collection container contamination violations. Establish a seasonal schedule for the leaf and limb program and establish a city enforcement authority for compliance to the state. This is the penalty phase part of the ordinance that's going to get updated along with meeting CalRecycle requirements. So as you can see, there's first offense is a warning, and it goes down to second, third, and fourth offenses. The collection cart contamination adds a tiered penalty fee structure very similar to the illegal dumping and disposal. So the illegal dumping and disposal, the disposal is ranges from grass clippings to excessive garbage or waste in the cans if the lids don't close. Bertolotti should not be picking up toters on the street that the lid to the toter cannot close. That's against CalRecycle rules. So we have to start enforcing that a little bit more. And then additionally provides for habitat offenders, for habitual offenders, which allow for, at the discretion of Public Works and or city manager or the city attorney to prosecute such violations as a misdemeanor. So these are, I wanted to call out some specific language in the Muni Code that's going to change. Now, there's going to be a lot of abbreviations, terminology added, but just to clarify, so 6.01.020 amends the existing code to accommodate the 3-can system that's not in there today. 6.01030 amends the existing code to clarify restrictions on the collection of cart storage. This is where the carts are going to be required to be behind the fence. 6.01090 amends the existing code to clarify protocols for delinquent accounts. 01100 amends the existing code to extend enforcement authority to Public Works. 01.100C adds a provision for inspection of the premises to determine compliance with sanitation standards. That refers back to the audit that we have to do. We have to physically go out in the field at random and pick up those cans and take them for an audit. This gives us that authority. And then 01.150 adds a penalty for enforcing pilfering and scavenging violations. .160 adds a provision for illegal unauthorized dumping and establishes a penalty enforcement program to address the violations. .170 adds a provision cart contamination and establishes a penalty and enforcement program to address the violations. .180 identifies special collection services and program criteria for the leaf and limb and the bulky item pickup. And 6.02.010 declares restaurant facilities responsible for adhering to the stipulation outlined by CalRecycle. With that, I'll take any questions.
Also have any questions?
Yeah, Director, what's the overall impact to the city through these unfunded state mandates? Cost-wise.
Tom, can you go back to that rate slide? So for the residential accounts, we were at $19 a month was the garbage service, and that included garbage and recycling. That included the leaf and limb program, garbage, recycling, and leaf and limb program. Now we are at, I want to say it's 20. I can't see that. 25.55. September 1st, we're going to 31. That's the direct impact. The reason for the jump is that we wanted to stage it a little bit. The 12,000 toters have been ordered, and I believe we're ordering, or Bertolotti's ordering 2 new additional trucks to go along with this, because the organics program is going to run simultaneous with the garbage program, where those are going to be picked up weekly. Recyclables will still stay on a bi-weekly. One of the struggles we're having is that when we built the rates and we built the structure, we removed a lot of the annual leaf and limb to a seasonal. And by doing that, we were able to utilize some of the existing staff. Right now, the leaf and limb program takes up a fair amount of time throughout the year. And then we have the bulky items along with illegal dumping that sometimes takes 2 days. We try to get it done in 1 day and we stage it out a little bit, but sometimes there's a lot.
But these are costly mandates handed down from the state. We have to pick up the tab. There's a significant impact to our financials, correct?
Correct.
Anyone else? Is there any members on Zoom with their hands raised?
First person is Lori Smith. Would you like me to unmute her mic? Your mic is unmuted.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lopez. I just have a question for clarification. The lawn and leaf or the limb and leaf pickup program, are you adjusting that schedule immediately? I think you said you were waiting until the first quarter, and I wasn't clear if that was the first quarter of the fiscal year or this calendar year.
It'll be the first quarter of next year. So we need to get through the first quarter to figure out where the organics program is and how long it actually takes us to do the service. So the leaf and limb program will end as it is today, January 9th of 2022. And it'll begin again October 1st. And if we can somehow in there increase service levels to where we can go out 1 day a week, whatever the case may be, to do, excuse me, the leaf and limb program as it is today, we will try.
And I have a follow-up if that's okay. So that's a very popular program, at least in my neighborhood. I see quite a few people taking advantage of it. How do you plan to communicate, educate, and promote this change in the leaf and limb program?
A significant amount of outreach. So the 90-gallon toters that are out there for the organics program are for, a lot of it has to do with the bulky item, or I'm sorry, the leaf and limb program itself. You know, lawn clippings, trimming the shrubs, even some of the tree work can be, put into the 90-gallon toter. And unfortunately, this is for right now, the way that the rates were built, we're using that staff person to pick up the organics. So we will work on it. Hopefully that the education and outreach will decrease the amount of leaf and limb that's on the streets for those months.
Right. Good. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Not in Zoom, Mayor.
Somebody from the public?
Just had a quick question. My name is Mark Price, and part of the legislation, does it say we have to have a 3-can system? Is that required?
You can do a 2-can system, but with the legislation, the way that it's written, the garbage then would have to get taken to a certified diversion station and get diverted and sorted, audited that way and separated, and then come back.
So we're going to assume that every citizen in the city puts the right stuff in the right can, correct? I can't do my own laundry right, and I'm gonna have to do my trash can correct. So
That's part of our
nobody
outreach.
else is going to. It's still going to be sorted somewhere, I'm assuming, correct?
To some degree, yeah.
It's got to be.
It just depends on what it is. So the recyclables are going to get sorted for sure. The organics and the waste garbage are going to get sorted, but we're hoping that with the education and outreach program that our diversion rates go up.
I mean, you're going to have to put it like the writing on the cans of which goes in each one.
And we will.
And
There's
that's
going to be stickers
whites,
going out.
Brights. It's like my laundry. Has anybody talked to our neighbors to the south here in Turlock to see how much contamination they find still in their 3-can system? Because I know they're the only ones, I believe, that are using 3 cans now, right? County, in this area?
In this area, yeah.
So do we know what their contamination rate is?
I don't. I know that we've talked to them several times about it, and one of our staff persons worked for Turlock for a very long time. I don't know what that number is. I can get back to you on that one.
I'm just curious about that, and also more curious about, talked about the additional cost, but what about the additional cost of the roads? I mean, these are heavy trucks going into residential areas who aren't really meant to have such heavy trucks. We already got our, the limb and tree coming, the trucks coming through, and now we have the garbage twice, and now we're going to have it a third time. So I mean, that's additional cost to the roads that we're going to have as well. So I guess I don't understand the 3-cart system. And I know there's technology out there that there's smart ways to sort this trash. I know there's intelligent eyes, there's robotics that do all this. So I'm not quite sure why we're going to a 3-cart system when, quite frankly, we can't even agree on whether or not we should have our garbage cans outside, inside. I mean, blight that I'm concerned with that we're going to see after this goes into place is a little concerning to me. So, I mean, 2 cans is hard enough for the people here in Sirius. Now, I can imagine 3 carts being stuck outside. So, you understand my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Warren, I guess I have to apologize a little bit for hopping up and down tonight, but I've talked to Jeremy a little bit about some of this problem. And I kind of wanted to ask everybody here, how many of you have 3 garbage cans in your house? Because that's what we're going to end up doing. Because paper plates got to go in one if they have a little food on them. And your napkins that you wash your hands with and maybe dry yourself with got to go in another garbage can. And the bottles and cans and leftover peanut butter jars have to go yet in a different one. So each person to be retrained, and if we can't do our laundry, trouble, and I understand that. Okay, but I was going to ask, how are you going to accomplish the picking up the 3 cans and hauling them off someplace and doing an audit? Pickup truck, or obviously not the garbage truck.
No, and it's a percentage of the cans. It's not, it's a small number. It's 100 or so biannually. Small number.
So we're not writing citations or enforcing some of our really important issues, at least some of us think we're not. But now we're going to start giving people garbage tickets. Got the peanut butter jar in the wrong thing, their grass in the wrong thing, or their laundry in the wrong thing. You can see the point. And I know this is being forced on, and it's not something that we all want to do, but it's, I mean, giving a person a ticket or a citation for the garbage in the wrong place when we won't give someone a citation that owes the city a $250 business license just seems a bit much.
So, my daughter lives in Tacoma, and she has 4 garbage cans that she deals with. What I'd like to see though is law enforcement start citing pickups and trailers that don't tie down the roads and stuff. I'm tired of dodging furniture on the freeway. I was falling behind a pickup some time back. I had the big styrofoam come flying out the back of his pickup. And then also come back from Turlock, traffic backed up for 2 miles, dodging furniture in the middle lane. I understand, law enforcement has to believe every lame excuse these people do while they're driving around looking for a place to dump this stuff. The other day riding my bike, somebody, right now, people are recarpeting and changing appliances. And a lot of times they just stop out in the middle of the road and dump it, not even pull over. Somebody was dumping carpet down, instead of dumping in one spot, they shared the love down the road. They just drove down a little bit, dumped more out onto the road, kept it on until they got rid of all their carpet. The other day I found somebody left a boat out in the field. That's the 3rd boat. Somebody dumped the trailer out in somebody's field. But yes, thank you.
Thank you.
While we're changing a million sections in the refuse part of the municipal code, we probably ought to look at 6.01.08. It forbids us from hauling our own trash to the transfer station. I don't know if anyone in this room is aware of that. I put it on Facebook. I actually read our municipal code, unlike probably 99% of the people in this room and 99% of the citizens of Ceres. With that said, how do we make this better for everyone? 3 cans, sorting our garbage. Does anyone in it goes to the big land? Fines associated in our municipal citizens because the garbage is going to be burnt to dust and landfilled in a very efficient manner? Spent a lot of money to develop that incinerator. It's clean. And at the state level, we do that through non-compliance. We sure don't have a problem non-complying with our municipal code. Why don't we ignore the state of California as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osgood.
Council folks, I've been a member or citizen of Ceres for over 35 years. Now it's me and my wife at the household. We're lucky we get half a barrel of each of those, one green barrel and a blue barrel every 2 weeks. I feel that with city of Ceres, a lot of vegetation within the city limits, I think that we need to maintain that curbside cleaning for us residents of Ceres that want a nice looking community and do some shrubbing and pile our shrub and have the garbage come by once and a half every other week. Like the gentleman says, yes, there's a cogeneration plant here just west of us, 35 miles. It's been there for years. Why can't we do something like that? Go there and disintegrate this trash instead of shipping it up to Livermore or the Bay Area somewhere. Just something that we need to look into before we adopt this new program.
Thank you.
Uniquely Ceres. It just keeps getting better all the time. Must be a really nice job that you guys are taking on with the new city council member. I think we go back to what I've said, probably the oldest one, and not the oldest one, the one that served on city council the longest. And she's heard me complain many times about education. And this falls into what Jeremy's going to be induced into is we haven't even educated the people on our ordinances here in the city. A few majority obey them. The rest of them ignore them constantly. Now we have this thing with the garbage cans. How are you going to educate people that don't want to be educated? You know, and I've tooted the horn many times about we got to find a way, put your minds together and find a way that we can get some people to a town hall meeting or some kind of venue to where we can educate these people. It's not getting any better. And I just said that a few minutes ago when I was up here. You know, if you don't educate people, they don't get anywhere in life. And they continue to use and do the things that they think is okay because they've never been disciplined. So I commend Jeremy on what he's dictated to by the state. I don't agree on a lot of those things, and I'm sure a lot of council members don't agree on a lot of things dictated by the state. But again, like I said many, many times, we got to educate these citizens. If you don't, we get nowhere. So if you're the new members on the city council, you think you can change something, by God, change it. We need help. If it's from above or somewhere else. It's got to start now. We've waited too long. Good luck, Jeremy.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Westbrook, this is strictly a discussion item, correct?
It is. So staff is looking for direction on a lot of those items, those code updates that Jeremy brought forward. So if the council concurs with those, then we would move forward and bring back a code amendment at a future meeting.
Makes sense to me.
Quick question. Before you guys do move forward, would it be possible to take a look at, if you're going to audit people's trash, why not audit it now and see what contamination is right now with the 2-can system? I mean, from what I understand, 2 to 4% of people actually use the trash cans correctly now. So what's the point of going to a 3rd can if they're not being properly used today? So I don't know if it's something that you can look at. I don't know if you're in a rush to do. But if we can keep 2 cans, it's something I think it would be in your best interest to at least look to see what the contamination is now. Thank you.
Director, is that a possibility?
I mean, anything's possible. You know, we can send trash, we can send some cans up to a diversion facility, have them go through it and sort it and tell us the percentages and bring it back to us. That's kind of where we are with this now, is there's a huge cost. The costs were far greater than what the rates are set today for the 2-can system because of that. Those trucks would have to literally take it to that sorting facility, have it sorted. Once it gets sorted, put back into multiple trucks and then brought back and delivered that way. You know, there's contracts with the burners and a few things like that. So, I mean, we could absolutely, I could send 50 cans and have them sorted now.
Hey, Mark, I believe part of this process in the 3 cans is a little different than what you're thinking. It gives the resident more options to get it right, is the process, is the thought behind this.
And this was the cheaper.
Whether that is, whether you can do your laundry correct, they're not.
I would hope, and I really do try to put my garbage in the right pot and right can. However, if I'm out of space in one, sometimes it goes in the other, and I'm a pretty lawful person. So I'm just saying, if that's I try to follow the rules the best I can, but I know there's a lot of people out there who don't. So it just seems very confusing. And I know there's ways to actually sort this stuff. I talk to people. I know it can be done. So it just seems like a lot of money and a lot more blight and a lot more trash that we have to, trash cans we have to look at in the street. So anyway, mine being 2. Unfortunately, they're not behind my fence. Sorry. Behind me. You can actually take my last question. If they have the right to audit our trash, is that legal? If they find drug paraphernalia or I don't know anything in there, can I be arrested for what they find in my trash?
That's not my goal.
I mean, is that part of the? I didn't read the whole thing, but I don't know what the legalities are. It seems kind of they can't walk in my house. Why can they check my trash? So anyway.
If your trash is on the street, anybody can go through it, except for when they put a code in that says we can't rummage through your garbage. We're going to put these cans behind the gate, right? We're going to change municipal code to throw 3 cans back behind the gates because certain individuals can't follow code now or can't be cited and made it to comply with existing code. Then how are we going to audit these cans? Am I going to be subpoenaed to haul my cans out and violate another code so that they can be audited? We got to think about all of these things. This is not a joke. He brings up a valid point. However, the courts have already opined if your garbage is on the street and you have drug paraphernalia in your garbage, well, sorry, bud, should have found a different way to dispose of it. But these questions and concerns are real. I have to put the cans behind my fence. Then you're going to come door knock me and ask me at your convenience to allow you access to my cans. There's a lot of violations of the people that are happening here. And how do we correct that? Through non-compliance.
Jeremy, can the liners that we put in our trash cans today, like in my house, I got a plastic bag, you put this, haul it outside in the garbage can.
Go ahead.
Can the liner go in each of those cans? Or some items have to be separate?
Recyclables have to be placed into the can, not in a liner and then into the can.
So my water bottle goes separate.
Into the blue recycled container by itself.
So I
Those
can't put it-
those rules are in place today. So the organics, you can put your food waste into a plastic bag, take it out, dump the plastic bag into the can.
And where you put the plastic bag?
Into the recycle bin.
And now we're gonna get paid. We're not gonna enforce all these other rules. It's just, hey, I apologize.
For the audit, wouldn't that be done when somebody has already put their cans out on the street before the garbage company comes by? It's not going to be once it's behind their fence.
We are not door knocking.
I'm sorry?
We're not door knocking to take a look at
Right,
cans.
it's going to be out there anyway, correct?
Correct. We will only do audits on pickup days.
Thank you.
Council, is this something that we want to hold off on, or are we going to make a decision today?
Director, the fines there as is, there's no change in the fine structure. That's part of one of the Senate bills or Assembly bills?
Correct. Each one of those assembly bills comes with monetary violations and fines that are associated with it. Most of them go into effect January 1st of 22, which is why we did the rate increase towards the end of last year, so we could get the cans purchased, the trucks purchased, and get some of the equipment on its way.
And we expect to enforce these fines and regulations. Are we held responsible for enforcing them, or is it some other entity?
City staff.
City staff. And what's the process of enforcement?
So it hasn't been completely worked out yet. The 3-can system's new to us as well for the organics, the diversion. We have to, the first goal is once we get the organics part of the program, we're going to do an audit of the organics, the waste and the recyclable cans. We'll at random go pick up cans, take them, get them audited. And then we'll do education and outreach based on everything that we find. You know, the only time we will fine anybody on what they're calling cart contamination is if there's something egregious and or we've had multiple conversations with the property owner. We're not just going to fine. We've established these rules, and the fine structure that's in place is very, very similar to the water conservation fine structures. And I think that we did a really good job. You know, maybe some differ from that opinion, but I think we did a really good job on water conservation and enforcing those rules. So the other side of it would be is the illegal dumping, the grass clippings in the street that belong in the organics can, those types of things. There's a lot of opportunity for us to all work together to clean the city up a little bit. And I think that by giving us, Public Works, some of the authority to help the lower end fines, the garbage, the illegal dumping, and help identify the persons who are doing those activities and educate them and get them to fix it. And if they don't, then we fine them. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity to where we can help PD and take some of the brunt off of PD so that some of these other issues, you know, they're freed up to handle a little bit of that between them and code enforcement.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? So you are looking for direction, correct? Yes or a no from the council?
Yes, sir.
No motion is required? All in? No? It's not an action item. And then move on.
Pardon me, my mic wasn't on. I was saying, there's no motion action tonight. We would like direction, though, to determine whether we bring back the changes in order to implement the program.
Sense. Got a yes from me. Mr. Yeagley, would you like to add something before we finish? We've done enough of that already.
Moving right along.
We'll be coming back to this once we will, trust me. We're not going to just leave everybody hanging. So we're just going to move forward today, and then obviously items will be brought back to for further discussion, for the details. So we could sit here all night as well too. You got a yes from me, Council. Okay to say no.
All right, so Mr. Thomas just wants direction on bringing the Muni Code changes back, and at that time, there will be public hearing, correct?
Yes, it would be a public hearing.
Okay. So as long as there's a public hearing, I'm okay with it.
I concur.
Thank you, everybody. Moving on to referrals. Does council have any referrals?
Yes, Mayor. I have a few general plan goals I would like to refer to a future council meeting. 7.C.3, a streamlined process. Continue to examine ways to streamline regulatory and permit processes to facilitate business expansion and new business development in series. Also 7.C.9, targeted incentive program. Develop a package of incentives such as city loans, expedited permanent review and approval, and floor area bonuses to consider offering to targeted industries and businesses that locate in series. Ensure that the long-term benefits occurred to the city ultimately exceed the value of the incentive package provided. Also, I would like to refer Municipal Code Chapter 3, Section 2.03.040, powers and duties, subsection C, power of appointment and approval. I would like to discuss that at a future council meeting to include council ratification for interim department heads. And also, finally, I would like to agree with Mr. Osgood on the Muni Code Review Committee. At one of our first council meetings, I suggested we follow one of the municipal codes general plan review committee to form that. I see a need for a Muni Code Review Committee after code I just referenced, as well as a few that Mr. Osgood referenced. I think we should definitely get citizens involved to take a look at the code, and we should all do that as well. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, if I may say something about the Muni Code, we spent about a year doing all of the municipal code, and Mr. Westbrook, did we spend about a year going through all the different Muni codes? It was, every meeting was publicly, or it was a public hearing. We went through it chapter by chapter. Just a year ago, we finished that. The public had every opportunity to comment. And now it's.
I understand that, council member, but I was also a part of the general plan process where we did numerous public workshops, community surveys, and that's not even our ordinances. That's just our general plan that we get to loosely live by. Our city ordinances are something we're supposed to follow daily, and I think we should really put more effort into that. I mean, we spent $1 million on our general plan. We didn't go get a fancy San Francisco consultant for our municipal code update. We did it in-house. I think that was a smart move. But I think we could involve the public a little more and do public outreach to get folks involved in it, rather than just do it at council meetings and pass it mundane.
And again, I would disagree because you are inviting the public. It was noticed, it was mentioned at every single meeting, and we spent a lot of time on that. I mean, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of sheets of paper we went through looking at, and the public had every opportunity to participate.
Anything else, Vice Mayor?
No, Mayor.
All right. I would also like to add a couple items to the next agenda. I would like to call item Chapter 10, mobile food vending, for review and possible amending certain sections of it. Especially number 2, mobile food vendors shall not use or permit use of parking spaces on site. That's the first one that I would like to discuss at a further agenda. And the second item that I would like to place on the next agenda item I would like to place for next week would be Chapter 17, sidewalk vending, for review and amendments. In this section, Section K in particular, regarding the comprehensive general liability insurance protection. So I want to talk about that.
So we want these 2 items and those 2 items in the next meeting?
That is correct. Well, I mean, I can't.
4
speak for- I
items.
can't speak. That would be 4 items total.
At the next meeting?
That's correct.
You know, I'm not disagreeing that you want to bring these items to the agenda,
Okay.
but I think it's unrealistic to ask that it be brought to the next council meeting. That's 2 weeks, but staff really gets less than a week to get all of your documentation together to prepare for the agenda, to have it printed out. I think it's
I won't
realistic.
disagree to extend it. I won't disagree.
Yeah, I just think
Sounds
it's
good to me.
realistic to ask for it I don't know what's on their next agenda. I don't know how many things are on there, but ask the city manager to put it on as soon as possible. I think that's reasonable.
You think you would need more time than the next meeting?
I think it's certainly easy enough to maybe get Vice Mayor Condit's on the next meeting and yours on the meeting after, or vice versa.
I'm okay with that.
I think that that's very doable. It just may be a heavy lift, as Councilperson Rhino mentions. All of my staff reports and everything are due this Friday. We're here tonight. It doesn't give staff a lot of time to get the necessary documents. So I think certainly if we break that up into 2 consecutive meetings, it'll be a little bit easier for staff to get it.
No, that's fine with me as well.
You have a preference on which?
Maybe
Goes
the last meeting of the month, possibly. 26. Is that the 26th?
But I mean, the general plan item at the next meeting and the items you mentioned after that?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Sounds good. No more referrals? Okay. We'll move on to reports. I have no reports. City Council?
Yes, Mayor. At the last SRWA meeting on April 14th, we continued to search for grant funding through the Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart Grants. while understanding the Federal National Environmental Policy Act, known as NEPA, and Endangered Species Act, reviews and determinations could lead to additional conditions and mitigation measures being imposed on this project. These conditions and mitigation measures have the potential to reduce the water supply for both cities involved in SRWA, Ceres and Turlock. Because of SRWA's concern about the potential scope of NEPA and ESA conditions that could be imposed on the project, SRWA is exploring ways to address these concerns. Also, I will be holding office hours on May 22nd from 9 to 11 a.m. here at the Community Center in the Mayor and Council office. If you have any questions, concerns, or ideas, please contact me at 209-566-5529 or email me at cocondit@ci.ceres.ca.us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just wanted to piggyback on one of your presentations, Mayor Lopez, about the public service week. 183 employees full-time have done a lot over the last year relative to COVID and keeping city operations. And so I want to thank them for all of the hard work that they put in over the last year.
Thank you, everyone. Alan,
Nothing to report, Mayor.
anybody from the departments? County Supervisor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I just wanted to quickly report on an alleyway that has been a problem in our county pocket over on Herndon. There's been a lot of blight issues that we've been facing. We were contacted by a constituent about a week or so ago. Our public works team did get out there and clean up the alleyway within a 4-day time span. Unfortunately, there is a continued blight that's only reoccurred within the last day or so. So we're going to again follow up and get our public works team back out there. But if there's ever any issues or concerns dealing with our county pockets whatsoever, please feel free to contact our office. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now adjourn this meeting to go into closed session for conference with labor negotiators, public employee evaluation, and conference with legal counsel. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak in regards to the closed session item? One person on Zoom?
Yes.
Ms. Meyer?
Randy Moore's hand raised. Randy, I'll unmute your mic. Your mic is unmuted.
Session. I just wanted to make an announcement about the beautification committee cleanup and remind the council that on May 22nd from 9 to 12, we're meeting at Smyrna Park for a cleanup session.
Thank you, Randy. I got your email. I'll respond to you.
Thank you.
Talk soon. Thank you. Anybody else?
No other hands are raised.
Okay. Now going into closed session.
We ready? Okay, regarding the first item, labor negotiations, direction was given to staff. Regarding the second item, city manager evaluation, there was no discussion on this item regarding the city manager, and it was simply continued to the next meeting. And on the third item, the existing litigation, that matter was settled for amount of $120,000 with the city accepting no liability in order to not incur any future costs.